Okay, guys. The government backpedaling its memo that required immigrant to go back to their home country in order to get a green card, while explicitly in our law it said while in USA you have this possibility to adjust your status. Okay, this backpedaling, it's because there's threat, lawsuit, massive pushback from mainly US employer, because there is so many company that were asking what we're going to do. We are people here that come here in order to get a green card, and also there is some advocacy a program for immigrant. And what they say people will present application that provide economic benefit, which mean that are in the national interest will likely be able to continue their current path, while others may be asked to apply abroad depending of individual circumstance, which mean this is not a good news because we don't know what they mean when they say if you are in the national interest, economic benefit, that's not according to the law. The law explicit say, yeah, if you come here legally, you even though if you overstay, especially if you are immediate relative of US citizen, I'm talking about husband or child under 21, they give you forgiveness and allow you to adjust. That's what the law said. And remember, USCIS it's an agency. USCIS can't rewrite the law. We need to be clear on that. So, but we need to be careful because actually, if you are in the process of adjusting your status, you got what we call a travel document. You should not travel. They may say, okay, you are already overseas, you can stay over there, okay, to adjust your status. Yeah. So, people with adjustment of status that have travel document, okay, especially when you got the combo, you got the work permit, you got the travel document. Wait, because the fight is still going on because there is a lot of lawsuit right now, and then also Congress is involved. It's not done yet, so we should not trust USCIS because we are still waiting for what they mean. What they mean when they say national interest. Because they change everything. So be careful right now. Just don't travel yet. And also stay informed. Especially if you go to the interview, you need to be careful and what you're gonna say to any officer. Really be careful because there is so many catch right now. So let me explain to you. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just telling you what I'm observing right now. So the question they ask, they try to see, example, if you come here on a visa or whatever other studies, they are trying to see if before getting this visa or whatever the study, if you had a plan to get a green card in USA. According to your answer, they may say, you asked for this visa, you asked for this, but that was not the intention. Your intention was to come here and adjust. Yeah. So you need to be careful to give you a providing answer because if your answer mean you're trying, to avoid the delay and you get whatever a tourist visa or a student visa or a humanitarian parole, and then and they find out that you had the intention to your fiance was here, you were talking about wedding before that. Okay, so you need to be careful the way you're gonna answer the question right now. That's the main thing. Okay, guys, so understand also people, oh, maybe, okay, I'm going to go back to my country. But guess what? Especially if you've been unlawful for more than 6 months, you go back to your home country, you get an automatic travel ban of 3 years, 6 months. But if it's more than 6 months, let's say if it's 1 year, you got a ban of 10 years. You need to understand that. So when they say you can go back to a country, especially for people that have been unlawful here for more than 1 year, according to the law, you got a ban for 10 years. It's not according to USCIS. That's what USCIS is not your lawyer. They're not gonna give you the best advice. Okay, so So they tell you go back to your home country, and you go back to your home country, and then guess what? You got a ban of 10 years, separate from your family, separate from your work. Hmm? Because you need to understand that. Okay. So right now, fight is going on. So many lawyers are filing a lawsuit for this, and Congress is already started. Also, I see there is the Senator Ruben Gallo of Arizona. Ruben Gallo of Arizona uh, asked the acting general of Government Accountability Office. So he write he wrote the Government Accountability Office and asked them to determine whether this new policy should qualify as a rule. If it's because USCIS can't even say this is a rule, that's a problem. If it's a rule, and then the Congress can go ahead and repeal it because that the Congress didn't give USCIS this power to to rewrite what has already been said in in the inner act. USCIS is an agency. USCIS don't have the power to rewrite the rule. That's what we need to understand. But in the meantime, while the fight is going, you really need to be careful how you're gonna answer them. If you ever got an interview, they may ask, okay, why you cannot go back to your home country? Okay, understand. Actually, uh, anything that is positive, when you are in front of a USCIS officer, it's like you're making a marketing of yourself. You need to sell yourself, actually. Whatever it's positive that you got, you need to present that in the meantime, because they want you to show why, are you in the interest in the country? Show that letter from your boss, from your company, letter from your church, any certificate that you got is helpful. Anything that is positive about you, if you volunteer somewhere, okay. So basically you need to show you come here, you know, like someone that gonna add something to the country. You don't come here to take from the country. You come to give, you come to work. You need to show that in the paper. And sometimes they just gonna they might ask financial information. They might check your credit score. But no, they don't have this power, but they might ask you these questions about your debt, your equity, to see if you have more, if your debt is more than your equity. So yeah, understand that. Understand right now, adjustment of status, interview, it says it's a marketing of yourself. Why should we keep you in USA? Why this is in America interest to get you here? Understand by that, if here you're living on food stamp, you're on welfare, yeah, you give them you know, the green light to say, come on, man, you come here taking off stuff. You're not bringing anything. So more than ever, stay out of welfare, stay out of government, ad. Because, because if you show that you come here just to take, not to give, that might be the answer. But in the meantime, understand the fight just started. There is bunch of lawsuit, and then we are still waiting for the real implementation. We are still waiting for, are they gonna deny people really and ask them to go overseas? We're still waiting for if they're gonna do that. If the person is qualified, and then you say, oh, you need to go overseas, that does not make sense. That's against the law. And this person may decide to do a mandamus. That means his home lawsuit. It's gonna be expensive to do your home lawsuit, and that's why it's better to check, different, a lawsuit. There are a bunch of lawsuits now. Sometimes they might ask you 2,000, 3,000. I see one of them that asks for 4,000. I think it's too much. But other law firm might ask you two or 1,000, 1,500, something like that, to be part of the lawsuit. Okay. So they have to follow the law. Yeah, USCIS have to follow the law. And the law state explicitly that you can adjust your status while in USA. So you need to fight back. If they ever deny someone and ask him, oh, you need to go overseas. Okay? They can't change. They can't change the law. Yeah, they don't have this power. They can even try to end. That's mean the intent of the law. That's not their job to try to guess the intent of the law. They want to guess the intent of the law. They need to go to the court. Yeah, they need to fight that in the court. USCIS is just an agency, okay, created by the Congress, and the job is to execute what has been written. That's their job. And then you have to fight back and you have to stay informed, especially if you go to an interview. Yes, more than ever, I would advise someone to get a lawyer if you went to an interview for adjustment. You need to get ready to understand what you can and should not say. They're not gonna ask you to lie, but there's something once you say them, you say that you had the intention to come here before you get the visa. That's mean you lie when you get when you get the visa because you are planning to get married. Yeah, that was still illegal. That's not for now. That's not because of them. You need to understand that that was illegal. The intention. Okay, so avoid the catch. You really need to see a lawyer to help you understand, how to get ready to face the interview, which is now it's a real fight interview to get your green card. But sometimes you might find a nice officer, yeah, something fine, nice officer, and then everything might went smoothly sometimes. It's depend of. But keep in mind, most of the time, right now, there are a bunch of other questions they're gonna ask you now. That usually those questions they weren't those questions usually they don't ask them. Now they're gonna ask you those questions. Get ready for that. Take care, guys, and remember to subscribe.